On. Thanks for inviting
Oh,
me.
lovely to have you on, bro. Lovely to have you on.
I'm a bit,
Dennis?
I'm a bit nervous to be honest. I've never done something like that before. So,
Don't worry, we get probably 60 views and we're 50 of them, so don't
no,
worry.
it's perfect. No, thanks. Thanks for inviting me. How are you, Amir? How are you doing?
I am fantastic, my friend, and it's a great pleasure to see you.
Yeah, it's great to
Great
see you.
pleasure. Hey, where are you living to this year?
I'm living in Adams. Yeah, I'm currently not in my room. I'm in the suite of Ashton and Gus. Um,
Okay.
I thought that, yeah. I
yeah,
figured.
exactly. But no, I got a singles in Adams. I'm quite happy. Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, he's right near
That's
where I was,
awesome.
Amir. Did you see my room last year?
Yeah. Your
Yeah,
room was lit. It was lit
yeah, we had the Vermont flag there too.
for sure.
No, it's a good spot.
Definitely. How about
Yeah.
you, Dennis? You excited to be back?
Oh
Sophomore,
yeah,
big sophomore year, you know?
yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's really nice. I was excited to be back because I feel like after 1 year, after you've sort of like figured out how everything works and what resources you can use and what opportunities you have at Bates, I feel like you can do much more in your second year and the third and fourth year as well. But I feel like in the first year, it's just all about discovering what the college has to offer, right? And now that you've had 1 year, you've connected with some people, you know what possibilities you have. I think it's more fun. You can do even more. So that's why I was really excited coming back. Yeah,
Nice, bro.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, that is the great part. You know your way around. You know like what you want to focus on the next year, who you want to be around. Yeah, you can like not think about, oh, where's my class at? You can like now think about like what you're gonna do in class. You know, you can focus on your studies a lot more. You can focus on squash. But
exactly. Yeah,
yes, this is my lovely guest today, Dennis Welt. Is Welt how you would say it, right? Just Welt.
it's Welte.
Welte? Welte?
Yeah, yeah. No, that
Oh,
wasn't.
okay, yeah, I
Yeah,
guess it makes sense.
that's
Welte.
it. Yeah,
Denny,
Really?
Denise?
Dennis. That's just Dennis.
Dennis. Just
Yeah,
Dennis. Just Dennis.
He said, just
Denise?
Dennis. Just
yeah.
Dennis. Just Dennis.
Dennis Welte, from Stuttgart, Germany.
Exactly.
Stuttgart, Deutschland. Deutschland?
Yeah, Deutschland. Deutschland. Yeah.
Deutschland. This right here is the man. Like, this is the man right here. He's the NESCAC Rookie of the Year in squash. And that's the least impressive thing about him, genuinely.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
He's such a kind person. He's a great student, big time. He just learns from everyone, you know? He's one of
Thank
those
you.
guys.
I appreciate
You
it.
sit down with him, he's extremely smart, but he'll still ask you every question about everything he doesn't know. And he's doing this interview today in his second language, and you can barely even tell. So, yeah, I'm very excited to have Dennis on today.
I appreciate all the compliments. Thank you.
Of course,
Thank you.
bro.
Thank you. I
And
really
Amir and
Humble
Dennis,
guy too. Humble guy.
humble
Humble
guy.
guy.
Yeah,
Humble.
that's bro.
I appreciate
All right, so let's get right into it, bro. So the quote of the day is from Marcus Aurelius, my favorite philosophers ever, Roman emperor. The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. It's a fairly common, if you're a big Marcus Aurelius fan, you know this quote. I try to live by it. And that'll lead us right into our philosophy segment, which is how do you go about those who wrong you?
how do I go about those who
Which
wrong me?
which I can answer first, just because
Yeah.
you guys are totally fresh. Um, I think that when people wrong me, so first of all, I do a better job when people wrong me than when people wrong like a loved one. Like if someone, was to do something, say something mean to me, I can easily let it go. If someone says something wrong to like or like does something wrong to my family or a loved one, then I have a bit of trouble with it. And I don't blame myself for that. Like I don't get too upset at myself, but I do think it's important no matter what. I always remind myself of what we talked about in the recent episode of Mirror is like, you truly never know what someone else is going through. And
Mhm.
we talked about this example of someone cutting you off on the road because I don't know, they cut you off on the road, you don't know who they are, you don't know anything about them. My mom always told me which I've said before, to imagine that give that person benefit of the doubt. You know, they are rushing their kid to the hospital who like has a terminal illness possibly and they need or having a seizure or something. And even if that isn't true, even if you don't believe that, they're probably not a happy person. Even if they're just cutting you off to be rude or because they are being selfish does not lead you to any sort of enlightenment. It doesn't lead you to live a happy life. So I just think having empathy in every situation will always lead you towards a happier life. So that's why I try to practice. Obviously, none of us are perfect, but that's what I try and think about when people wrong me, how I go about it. Yeah. About you?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's a textbook answer, to be honest. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, well, yeah, well,
Sorry if I
well,
talked for too long. I love you.
no, no. I mean, I don't know what else.
What else to
Honestly,
add?
I mean, so yeah, I guess that's an amazing, that's an amazing way to think about it, a very mature way that I try to do as well. I think, to be honest, it's quite hard sometimes, especially in a situation where there's an environment of tension, and then
Mhm.
something happens. I think that's really that's
Oh,
really the key moments where you have to stay calm and find your calm, and just what I try to do is I just yeah, as you said, I try to like distance myself from the situation. I think when, like, I don't know, someone cuts you off on the road, or these small incidences in like everyday life, I don't worry too much about them, to be honest. I don't think that's like too much of a wrongdoing. I think that just happens, and you can't control these situations, so you just accept them and move on, basically. What I really think is a bigger issue is when, you've met someone, or you thought someone was your friend, or you've put trust into someone, and then you realize, oh, that person, he did me wrong in some way. I don't know. You realize, oh, you can't trust that person, or he would like drop you for a certain thing he wants. When you get into a
yeah.
situation where that person has to decide between like you or like something that person wants, and then you realize, oh, seems like this this relationship you had with the other person didn't seem to withstand through his desire for something, and then you realize, oh, wow, okay, that is quite harsh. But there again, I would say, yeah, obviously anger is never the right answer, right? So you want to distance yourself from the situation, and then um you might feel bad, but think learning a lesson from that, and then just stepping back, distancing yourself from the person, from the situation, just stepping back and saying, hey, okay, I've seen your face now. I know what kind of person you are, and I try to distance myself from you. I think that is how I try to deal with like, I would say, more like emotional wrongdoings, if
Yeah.
that's
Hmm.
Totally.
like in like human interaction wise. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
Once they get closer to home, yeah.
Absolutely. No, I absolutely love that, Dennis, because it's like emotional well. Like I remember like my freshman and sophomore year, like losing friends and like just seeing like people's true colors and stuff like that. That really used to like bother me. Like it really used to bother me. And like I would just be like okay, like I've seen the true colors, but I would really like be like, oh, like this bothers me. Like I don't like this is just disgusting. But now it's like I'm reaching a point where it's kind of like okay, all right. I go about my life. I wish him well. I said, okay. I wish him the best. I love him, whatever. I wish him the best. But I really the next stage for me, I think is like physical. Like if someone like physically does something bad, uh, not even me. Like if someone did something physical bad to me, I could brush it off. But if someone like Big H said, if somebody did something physical to like my family members, I I lose it. Like I can't fathom it. Like for example, I'm gonna give you an example. I was in New York a year ago, and we, me and my girlfriend at the time, we were just walking in the park, and this person was just going about the day, and they said water, and my girlfriend, like we both had water bottles in our hands, but this person had headphones on, so I was just thinking like, oh, like maybe they're singing a song. Like I don't know. Like water is kind of a weird thing to like just say out loud, you know? So my girlfriend at the time says like she stops and she acknowledges what he's saying. And the guy looks at her, then he looks at me, spits on me, spits on me. I'm gonna be honest with you. During the moment, I was just so shocked. Like I was so surprised where I was like no way this just happened. Like I
Yeah, you yeah,
this is yo, this is crazy. But then I said, you know what? I have to just keep going. I have to walk away
so,
because not only like I have to protect my girlfriend, you know, like I don't need to get into this, you know. I have to keep going and I have to keep walking. I have to be a man about it. But I was also thinking like I'm so glad he didn't spit on her because it's like I just would have lost it. I would have blanked out, you know?
so,
So it's like in situations where people do things to like loved ones that like are close to me. Like I haven't reached that point where it's like I can
totally.
like use my brain and like think about how to handle the situation. But I think when it comes to me, I I could think and use my brain. But I just think with other ones, I'm not at that level yet. So I think
Well,
that's like my next thing that I'm working on,
totally.
you know?
Yeah.
Well, let me say, bro, that's awesome that you were able to just keep walking and you recognize, well, for one, that's yeah, that you're like a real man for that. You just like, you kept walking, you're the big man.
Absolutely.
Two, you
Yeah.
probably recognize this person is extremely low in life. If they're just going up to
Yeah.
some people and like spitting like it.
I know.
And three, you recognize if you do anything like that puts your girlfriend in trouble, not just you. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And who knows what that person could be all about. So, and that's the point. You
Exactly.
were able to think about those things.
Uh-huh. But I'm just saying, like, I'm so glad he didn't do that to
Exactly,
my
because you went,
girlfriend because
Yeah, but I think that is so interesting, right? Because coming back to the quote you just mentioned at the beginning, it's this essence of the way you react to things, or you react to someone doing you wrong, and you set out this goal to not react on the same way, not enact this like self-justice, right? To get back at that person. And I think it's really interesting to see how it's so much harder to do that when it affects a loved one, right? As you said, in that situation you were able to enact that because it was yourself that was hurt, and uh the side effect of maybe your loved one getting endangered by you letting out your revenge is obviously to consider, but it's also like, I think if you had been there personally, like without your girlfriend, I think you still would have walked away, you know.
hmm
Maybe you would have told the guy something, but you would have definitely not reacted in the same way as he did.
for
But
sure.
as soon as a loved one gets involved, I think that is one thing about stoicism, with that I sort of struggle struggle to like understand or get the point to. It's like this idea of acceptance, of accepting things that you cannot control, right?
right.
And that on the one hand, I mean, it gives you a sort of like a calm. It's like you you can try your best, right? But at the end of the day, the outcome is never in your hands. And that is something that makes you calm. But it is also that the Stoics even left people behind that were like sick, or were like had certain problems with their health. and they just saw that as accepting that this is something out of their control. And that is definitely a problem I have with this whole Stoic idea of acceptance, that I think if you have strong emotions for a loved one, you can't just let that go, right? You can't just let the acceptance handle that.
Well, here's what I'll say in defense of Stoicism, because I always defend it. I think that's a great point. I was literally talking about this with someone earlier. Like this idea of acceptance, like this idea almost of like kind of deterministic view. Like I don't think determinism should be interpreted and stoicism should be interpreted as like, oh, this person's sick, okay, like God wants them to die. Like let's let out.
Oh
I
no, that's definitely an
no,
oversimplification.
I know I'm oversimplifying. But I'm saying like I think you can within stoicism do everything you possibly can like to act like you have control, but accept that you don't. So like for example, stoic, bring it back to golf. I think I've talked about this before. Before I take a shot, I think I have the highest expectations. I'm doing everything I can, believing that I have control over the shot. And as soon as it's over, I recognize that I didn't have like I don't have control over the past. I don't have control over what just happened. I don't. So I think like when it comes to this situation, like I have no control over like how this person might react, how this like over other people's feelings, but I can control if I act in a calm manner, if I try to keep my family safe, if I do what I can to keep family safe. Like if someone's sick, I have control over trying to like get them as much medicine as possible, but understand that like we're in a world that we don't understand. Marcus Aurelius also says how, which I use as a quote of the day, how foolish of anyone to be surprised in a world that we don't understand, you know? So like no, I'm kind of going on a tangent, but I think like in terms of the medicine thing you're talking about or the sickness thing, yeah, like you can do everything you can to save someone and then still accept that like we can't control everything. Now to but if you want to say something to that, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I obviously agree. I mean, otherwise all ambition is almost lost, right? Because if you say, well, I can't control anyway, so why should I bother trying? But I actually think that I picked this example of health because I think there was, I don't know if it was meditations or a different book I read um on that, but I think there was actually that was actually an example of how one of one family member died of one of the Stoic philosopher, um, and that just shocked me in that moment. But I mean, like on a rational basis, I mean that's how I go about things too, right? You wanna try things to do at your best and think you can control the outcome, right? Because that's how you achieve your progress and set your goals and your ambition and all of that.
Totally. And I think like in this case, first of all, yeah, I didn't know that story. That is wild. That's almost like an extreme sense of determinism, you know? It's like why would you do anything at that point? You might as well just sit around and do nothing. But anyway, like I think that in terms of the whole like someone else, like how we're all talking about how like something with a loved one is so much harder. It's like I genuinely think, and you guys may be able to agree, like I care more about like my family and loved ones than I do about myself. Like I care much more. I couldn't stand to have like a loved one like get injured, but like I would rather have myself get injured 100% like in these cases than a loved one. I just care too much about them. And it's tough because we actually don't know what's going on inside their head. So in this situation, if someone does something to your girlfriend, you're like, you can't even tell. You care so much about this person more than you do yourself, and you can't even tell how it's affecting them. So it makes you so worried and stressed out that it makes it harder to think and like think rationally.
Absolutely. It just makes you lose
And you don't have care for
everything.
the person in the situation oftentimes,
Exactly.
or
Exactly.
as much. Yeah.
Exactly.
So it makes it harder to think in those situations. But I think that's the key is being able to like balance like your empathy in a way, or like balance like not necessarily the care, like you can still care more about that person, but like recognizing that in the moment. And I think that's why what Dennis says so brilliant, like removing yourself, physically calming yourself down from a situation is so important. Yeah.
Very important.
Yeah,
Dennis, oh no, no, you go, Dennis. You go, Dennis.
no, I just wanted to say I think that's overall a problem. I think in discussion or heated debates that empathy just fully goes out of the window, right? If you know someone, or even better, if you don't know someone and you might realize you have some points or some strongly maybe even polarized points that you disagree on, I think you some people just throw empathy out the window and start shouting each other. And I think that's like a general problem, not even in a in someone doing you wrong, but in general debates or discussions, it seems like empathy is completely gone, and it's just about humiliating the other person or trying to win the argument so bad without trying to understand their position.
So, Dennis, what does I agree with this, and this is like my biggest thing, and not like how I critique people, but like when we're having a discussion, and say I'm talking to you, Dennis, and you don't believe in my point, or you don't see any value in my point. How do you deal with that? Like I want like I look at things like that, and I think it's extremely important that okay, I could disagree with Dennis, I could disagree with Hayden, but I still make sure that the love and respect is there, if that makes any sense, despite having different experiences and views in this life, And I think like what you said in terms of people getting angry and aggression and just losing control. What sparks that? Like why are we like why does all empathy and respect just go out the window? Like I even see with the president of the United States right now when he debates, it's just it's like a humiliation thing. It's not really trying to understand the other side of you know what I'm saying? Like trying not to understand. Like I think the biggest thing is trying to understand the other person and seeing like the point of view that they're arguing from, despite even if you don't agree with them.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. I mean, I I don't want to comment on any presidential debates or politics.
Yeah.
Uh, I I I agree that yeah, no, certain
Um,
debates.
we actually don't talk politics, so don't worry. On here, we don't.
Okay, that's
Absolutely.
I'm very happy to hear that. So yeah, no, I just think um if you have open-minded people around you, right, that sort of like accept other people's standpoints, even though they don't overlap with their own, and actually listen to their arguments and trying to understand them, then I guess that's how you can have a rational discussion. Why some people just close up their minds and just start shouting at each other, losing all their empathy and maybe rational sense in debates. I don't know. There, I'm not. I I have no idea like about psychology in that way. So what I can
Mhm.
imagine is that maybe they are afraid to be wrong, right? They live in their like in we all certainly live in our own sorts of realities and see things differently, right? Uh we usually have different perspectives on things. No one is the same, but I think, yeah, people just tend to close up when they are afraid of having to throw overboard all of their reality. And I guess that's fair, yeah. But besides that, I don't know.
Dude, afraid to be wrong. Very interesting point there. Um, I think that I think that part of like, and we're not gonna talk politics, but like politics, like the highest level of like this, like should be a calm sense of disagreement, but like we don't really have that. And like people say nowadays, but it's always been, there's always been like political unrest in the world and
Hmm.
US politics in the past too. And I think that it comes from like these people have power. And when two senators, one say has a lot of power and is doing something, it's that sense of care that like the other senators, like you're hurt, feels that like they think like they, or they think they know that they are hurting someone else. Like they are hurting like these people that they care about, like their say constituents. They're hurting their constituents. And like so that's so like we said, it makes it harder to think when like this person has so much power and is like the other people really think that they're like hurting others. And like they could be 100%. So I think that's where like the care factor comes into play again.
Hmm.
Like just like this like the empathy towards like say like Amir in this case, like the constituents or like American people are like the your ex-girlfriend, you know.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's a really interesting thought. So what you're trying to say, if I got that right, is that this senator that represents a certain group of people wants to defend this group of people so badly, or um like go in and advocate for their interests so badly that he feels very offended by someone trying to do them wrong.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, I think no, that's a very like noble view of a politician. I think that's that's quite no, that's quite surprising. I think I'm not sure if that's really happening in politics. That's a very nice way to think about it, surely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I want to I want you to expand on the they're afraid to be wrong point though.
Yeah, I mean that was
Like, does
just
that happen in like everyday life too?
sorry, say that again.
Like, does that happen in like everyday life as well?
I'm not sure. I just think that may be one of the reasons why people that may not be open-minded are so convinced of their views and have a hard time changing them, you know? And I think it's also about people not being able to agree on a certain baseline of facts, or people just constantly questioning a certain baseline. If you can't agree on a common grounded truth, it's like one of these trigger words, right? Truth.
Yeah.
Then you have a hard time establishing a rational debate, I think. And that I think that these are things that all come together and just create a very heated atmosphere in debates, and then empathy doesn't matter anymore, and just goes all pretty wild. And I think what also contributes to that is that, like, in the debates, it seems like people adapt more polarized standpoints, meaning they are adapting standpoints of one side of either extreme just because the other side is doing it, right? Not because maybe they are actually convinced by it, but just because the other side is doing it. And so it sort of gets very out of hand. That's
I had an interesting thought um to what you said at the beginning is like this idea of like emotion like being like worried that they're wrong. And like I think about someone who it's almost like a sense of denial, like because the other side, them being wrong, means bad, very bad things. So like, when people like say their car is broken in a certain way, and the mechanic tells them, or like, so their friend comes up and tells them, "Oh, I think like this might be very expensive." They're like, "No, no, no, it's not broken like that." People get almost emotional to
Hmm.
defend their point and get very worried, like when the opposite means very bad things for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in this case, politicians, the dark view of politician would be the opposite. The opposite means no reelection.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, that was just a thought.
Yeah. I see in the top right that there's only like a certain amount of that.
Oh my God, dude, that's crazy.
Crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, we only get 40 minutes on that's what I told you. It's only 40 minutes because Zoom only gives us 40 minutes.
Oh, okay, got
Somehow
it.
we're already
Yeah,
we have
it
9 minutes
just feels
left.
like we've talked for like I don't know 10 minutes or something.
Yeah, I know, that was crazy. Um,
Wild.
well, I guess we'll finish off the sports section because I really wanted to talk a little sports because I feel like Amir probably knows basically nothing about squash. And I would love for you to I would love for you to go into like detail on like squash, how things work, everything. Because it's not like, not everyone in America always knows all the rules and everything.
Okay, yeah, of course. So, I guess it's I will just go over it. So if you have no imagination of what squash is or
Yeah.
whatsoever, you're basically it's I hate that description actually, but it's very simple to imagine. It's basically playing tennis against the wall. Okay. So, imagine you have a tennis court and you flip one side upside down, and then you have two players on one court, and they basically hit the ball against the wall. The ball is only can only bounce once, right? And so you go back and forth, right? Player A hits a shot, player B returns, and that's how you go on. And then you have this court. It's sort of like this box where you have four walls, and you have to play against the front wall every time, right? So you stand in this sort of like box that you call a squash court, and you go take turns on playing the ball against the front wall again, right? I think it's like 9.75 meters long, maybe. I don't know what that is. And
I just like 30 feet-ish.
yeah, maybe something like that. And then you have like a width of 6 meters. And then yeah, the goal is basically to win three games. Each game is 11 points. And then it's a best of five match, right? So you can have a score of 3-0, 3-1, or 3-2. If it's 10 all in a game, then it goes to the player must win by 2 points. So it can go 12-10 or 13-11 or 16-14, whatever. And you have a 90 seconds break in between games. That is the break you have. And yeah, otherwise there are
Wait,
no
so
other.
what about the lines on the wall where you have to hit the ball?
Yeah, so there's a line going around the top. You're not allowed to hit on or above the line. And then
Okay.
there's basically this metal bar at the bottom, right? And you're not supposed to hit the metal bar. And then you have a line in the middle, but that's only for serving. So you serve
Okay.
above the middle line, and then you're basically free to hit anywhere on the front wall as long as it stays below the upper line and above the metal bar at the bottom.
Okay.
That's
On serves, do you like bounce it or throw it up or hit it out of your hand or what?
I mean, you're free to do anything basically.
Okay.
It's not like a classic tennis serve where you have one one of these overhead serves. That's not what you
Yeah.
do in squash. That would cost a lot of energy, and usually the serve doesn't win a lot of points, not as in tennis, right? So yeah, you can do anything at the serve basically, and then the game starts. Yeah.
Nice.
Interesting. Hey,
And
how old? Oh,
go
you
on.
you can go, Big H. You can go.
You got it.
All right. How old were you? Thank you. How old were you when you started playing squash?
Yeah, I was around 9 years old when I started playing. Yeah,
Oh,
so I started fairly young. My dad played. That's how I got into it. It's not a pretty big sport in Germany either. It's rather niche.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Where is it big?
I would say it's pretty big in England and Egypt, actually.
Oh, really? Oh yeah, Egypt. That's right. I knew that. Oh,
Egypt
Egypt,
is
pretty
really
crazy
good
good.
at squash. Yeah, they are consistently world champions and have the best players. And
Oh wow, yeah.
yeah, really good.
Um, and as for so I've gone to one match versus Wesleyan. I watched all you guys. What? So the players ref, but like, is that a thing like in the NCAA tournament? Like, if you were to go to the national championship, like you still the players ref? Is that like always a thing?
So not at the national championships, right?
Okay.
So if we have the national championships, they're usually in Philadelphia, then they will have refs for us,
Okay, good.
which
Yeah,
is
yeah.
pretty good. But yeah, there as you have just hinted at, there is definitely a conflict of interest there. If you
Yeah,
have
so odd.
your opponent reffing you, that can lead to quite some awkward situations. And
Yeah. How
yeah,
often does it get weird? Like how often?
oh, really often. I mean, it
Yeah.
always depends on the sportsmanship of the other team, but
Yeah.
if it's a deciding match and things get close, it's rough. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's I'm not a big fan of it, honestly. I don't like it.
Yeah. Is that a thing in Germany at all when you played?
No. So, see, that's why college squash is so special because it's usually squash is not a team sport, right? It's an individual sport. So in Germany,
Oh, really?
there's no actually such thing as real team events. It's just individual events. So you just have, I don't know, a draw, 32 players, and then you just play it out, and you have the guy that played the round before you ref you. So he's like, no,
Yeah.
yeah, no, he doesn't really care too much about if you win or lose this. He doesn't have that much of an interest in uh,
Yeah.
ruining your match, right?
Totally.
But that's yeah, that's why that was never a problem. But that's what makes college squash so special because it's like a very unique atmosphere that you have. Nowhere in squash you have such a team atmosphere.
Yeah, that's so interesting. Do you like the team vibe or?
Oh, definitely, for sure.
Oh, nice.
Something completely different. And I think it's even better if people from like the outside come and cheer you on, people that have nothing to do with squash, because that's also a very rare occasion, right? The squash community
Really.
is probably is usually pretty close, and then you have squash people like watching your matches. But if people from other communities join you and support you, that's even better. That's something you're not used to in squash, and that's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
It's
That's so
awesome.
interesting. Um,
Um,
what other questions do I have? So in Germany, there's no such thing as player reffing, and you've never played on a team in Germany. Are you part of like a organization with?
Yeah, so we
Like
only
you
have
said, so he's not going to mention it because he's very humble, but Dennis is on the German like national team. Like, are you like
humble, man.
with the team?
yeah, so we have team events in Germany, and we also have a Bundesliga, but it's very different from college sport, right? It's not as because you also can like buy players, and then only let's say you buy an English guy and he lives in London and you fly him over for a game day against like a very strong team, right? Then
Yeah.
you didn't meet this guy before, you have no personal relationship, nothing. It's not as personal as like on a college team. Yeah, on a national team it is. That's something similar, but it's only four people on a team, right? It's not
I
like
see.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lovely. Hey
Um,
man, well thank you so much for coming on, Dennis.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
It was amazing.
absolutely.
Thanks.
And
I,
it's
I wish we would have had more time. I mean, it was
Oh,
great.
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, we didn't even get to the debate, bro. We didn't get to
Yeah.
the debate.
crazy.
We got to theorize though. And I'm lucky enough to see Dennis later tonight, so
I
Yeah, for
can't say the
sure.
yeah.
same. I
Yeah.
cannot say the same.